Concerning my journey here to the seminary, it's twofold, and we need to understand the context. I was a student way back a long time ago, and in that context, there were only a few students here. And what's interesting, ironically, is that this semester, I taught a class, it happened to be in Old Testament, that I had more students in that class online than we had the whole student population back in 1970. And so I can appreciate the Lord's blessing upon us numerically, and I think hopefully quantitatively. And as a result, I believe that Psalm 37:4. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." And the Lord has given me the desires of my heart in at least two ways with respect to the seminary, and part of that's my journey. You know, first of all, bringing me here and guiding me here to be a student. Back when I was considering another school, and the Lord led me here, and I was blessed to be here. And then seeing the need to enhance my education, and the Lord led me to another school to increase my skill and hopefully my abilities. And then I had a desire to come back and share that with students here at the BMATs. And as a result, the Lord did bring me back in 1980, part-time 79, and in 1980 full-time. And I've taught here about 35 years, approximately 30 years part-time, 5 years full-time. In light of God's leading me here, He has blessed me with the opportunity to teach the Scriptures, as I was saying, also in the language classes we call exegesis, and we really dig deeply into what we might call the unsearchable riches of God's truth, as mentioned in Romans 11:33. And also Ephesians 3:20, He's given me much beyond what I would even think about in the answer to my prayers. I like teaching at BMAS for at least a couple of reasons, several reasons, but two primary reasons. One is I enjoy teaching a variety of biblical subjects. I have the opportunity of teaching survey, introductory type classes, like on the Old Testament in 2 semesters. Also, I get to teach specific books of the Bible. I guess I have to say, hard to choose one, but that's one of my most favorites, is to choose and just really zero in on a book of the Bible or a group of books. It allows me to really focus in. And besides a variety of things, I also get to teach biblical Hebrew and hermeneutics, which is just a technical way of saying the art of how to interpret and understand the Bible. But secondly, also I get to teach students in a small class setting, because despite the fact of having increased in our online studies, we still have, most of our classes are very small and allows us personal interaction with students. The goal of many of my classes is that to enable the student to better understand the Scriptures as a whole and individually. For example, in our Old Testament survey and introductory classes, I like to emphasize the big picture of each of the Old Testament books. And I think probably as a whole in seminary we try to do this for each of the books of the Old and New Testament. But in my area especially, it's to become aware of the big picture, the overview, the purpose of each book of the Bible, so that when we're studying, we're able to understand the individual chapters and verses. A lot of times I feel that people feel like they've been dropped out of a plane into the middle of a jungle and they can't see the forest for the trees. But if we can understand the individual parts in light of the whole, that helps us a whole lot. And this also involves like understanding the literary genre, the type of writing that's involved, and also the historical, cultural background, history of the time period. And then for the language students, which my specialty is in the area of Hebrew, I feel that we can really help to equip students to study the Bible for themselves. That's what we call exegesis, and so that they do not become totally dependent upon commentaries. Of course, we always can stand on the shoulders of others and learn from other people, but sometimes the commentaries don't answer a particular question. So if we can learn the skills and abilities and tools, then we can access that for ourselves as we pray for God's direction. I believe it was Martin Luther who said that the biblical languages are the sheath or the scabbard which holds the sword of the Spirit. And so in view of that, I believe that if we can have the biblical languages, we can better wield the sword of the Spirit more accurately and effectively in the Lord's service. And so my desire is to invite you to join me as we study the Scriptures together.